So hello everyone, welcome to EduTap, and guys, welcome to your ESI and objective full examination, full paper for your ESI section that has been undertaken place in your RBI phase 2 examination. So if I talk about today's examination, guys, we will be discussing with you the full paper for the ESI paper. Both objective and descriptive questions will be discussed with me. Okay, so with me Prakash sir will be here, who will be taking your session for the descriptive paper, and I will be going through the objective questions that have been asked in your examination. So guys, before moving forward, one thing that is very important when we look at this analysis and whether the solution video here is that what are the type of questions that have been asked in your examination. From how many months current affairs the questions have been asked. These are some common questions. If you have analyzed them properly, then you can betterly prepare for the upcoming examination of RBI also. Okay, so if I basically talk about the paper, that how many questions have been asked. So majority of the questions were basically being asked from the government schemes. And these were the schemes that were seen in news from the past 6 months. So in the past 6 months, these schemes were seen in news. That's the main reason why these questions have been formed. Similarly, from ESI current affairs, what we were expecting in the examination was that there will be questions in the one marker. But what has been done here is, instead of asking question in the form of one marker, what has been done is they have asked a 2 paragraph based questions here. 2 paras were there on the ESI current affairs, which were from the recent news, the news that has come in month of April. So both the things were seen in the month of April, from where your paragraph based questions on the ESI current affairs have been asked. Then there were one paragraph based question that was on the report section that was there, which was the most toughest question I can say in the examination, because it was asked from that report which was released 2 years back. So this was the overall how your examination has been conducted. Now guys, let's start first with the objective question. The first question is the paragraph based question that I will be discussing. First paragraph was basically on the One Nation One Ration card. Okay, so there was a paragraph on One Nation One Ration card, and the first question that has been asked here is One Nation One Ration card, the scheme. The question has been asked is, the scheme mentioned in the passage has received an award for excellence in public administration. You have to tell that on which date this award has been given. So now guys, if you look at the first look at this question, okay, this question is not that easy to answer. But when you look at the options here, if you have just remember one thing, that One Nation One Ration card has received an award in the month of April. This was the major thing. If you just remember this thing, then you can easily solve this question. Why I am saying this thing easily you can solve this question? Because overall your question was on a moderate to tough line. It was not that easy to answer. But what we can see here is, say 75th Independence Day August, International Women's Day May, Republic Day January, Good Governance Day December. So with this, only one option is left, that is 15th Civil Services Day. That was the answer here. That is the option number D was the answer here. Okay, so this was the thing about the first question on this paragraph. Now, as I was discussing, guys, so this was basically seen in news in the month of April, this One Nation One Ration card scheme. Okay, now second question was, because One Nation One Ration card is related to National Food Security Act, so they have related the question of One Nation One Ration card to National Food Security Act, and what they have asked is, the scheme mentioned in the passage has been implemented nationwide, ticket of ration card under which of the following act? Direct question from the One Nation One Ration card scheme has been given, that is the National Food Security Act of 2013. So see, scheme of April, seen in news, and from here they have handpicked these questions. Now, the next question is, guys, about this. This was the question which I can say this was asked in depth from the National Food Security Act. So now see how the questions are being formed. Simple scheme is, the scheme has received an award, then they have got into the scheme, then within a scheme has been mentioned, that is National Food Security Act, and here they have asked a question on that specific line. The question is, in case of non-supply of the entitled quantities of food grains or metals, persons under the scheme mentioned in the passage will be entitled to receive food security allowance. This food security allowance is basically being given under which of the following act, and here are the options. So if you look at the options here also, guys, these are not that easy to answer, because if you haven't gone through the question, if you haven't gone in detail of the National Food Security Act, you guys cannot answer this question, because this requires a very in-depth knowledge of the National Food Security Act also. So here if I talk about, guys, the answer here is that is Food Security Allowance Rules of 2015, that is option number D. Okay, so this was directly asked from the National Food Security Act's website. So this is the thing here. Now see how the examiner has asked your question, in which line the questions have been asked is basically, first of all, a scheme was seen in news, then from within a scheme, they have asked a question from scheme, then within a scheme, a sub-scheme or a scheme which is the main scheme, that is National Food Security Act, they have gone into that specific domain of the scheme. Then the next question is, as on Feb 2022, the scheme mentioned in the passage has been implemented in how many states and UTs? Now, if I relate it here, the second thing is, guys, just before your examination, Assam was the state when the government says that now Assam has implemented the One Nation One Ration Card scheme, and now it has been implemented all over India. But important thing here is, here they have mentioned this specific date, that is as on February 2022. So from here we could understand that it is not the recent, it has asked, the specific month has been mentioned here. So the answer will be option number A, that is 35. So now it will not be 36 here. Okay, that is the reason the answer here will be option number A, because the month has been mentioned here. So guys, this has been covered in our course holistically. Okay, now coming to the second question. The second question was a passage on SMILE scheme was here. So now if I talk about here, it is not directly related to the paragraph, was something mentioning about the department was mentioned here in the paragraph. Okay, then they have given something detailed, some brief about the scheme has been given. Basically, to engage in act of begging, this was the purpose of the thing. Now when I talk about SMILE scheme was launched in the month of Feb. See, Feb 2022, SMILE scheme was launched. So yeah, that's why they have asked a question from the newly launched scheme also, that has been released 3 to 4 months before your examination. So the first question is, under the scheme, shelter homes are basically being constructed. Okay, these shelter homes will be provided under which of the following? And the answer here is, that is Garima Grah. So Garima Grah, basically under where the shelters are basically being provided to the people. That is the answer here. Then next question is, which among the following statements are correct about the SMILE scheme that has been asked in the paragraph? The first is that skill development and livelihood is provided under the PM Daksh scheme of the department. Then is setting up of a beggar protection cell, provide scholarship for students in class 9 till post graduation. So now guys, here to how to attempt these questions, look at the keywords. Okay, first keyword here is PM Daksh scheme, second is setting up beggar protection cell, third keyword here is scholarship is provided to which, that is students studying in class 9 till post graduate. This is the thing here. These are the keywords where you have to show where main emphasis has to be provided here. So now when I talk about here, guys, first and third statement here is wrong. The first and third statement is right. Second is wrong, because it is not talking about the beggar protection cell. Transgender protection cell will be set up under this SMILE scheme. So that's why the second statement here becomes incorrect. Okay? Dekhiye, provision of transgender protection cell was there, not the beggar protection cell. So this is again, I can say, if you know the scheme, then you can attempt the question. But if you are not able to understand the crux of the scheme, then these questions are really difficult to attempt. Because when you do not know the exact scheme, how can you then solve this question? This will be the main thing here. Then next question is the allocation amount. So okay, now the schemes beneficiaries have how much amount has been allocated. The answer here is, that is an amount of rupees 365 crore rupees has been allocated for the year 2025-2026. That's the main thing here. Okay. Now guys, this is the question that was the most unexpected question we can see that has been asked in examination. Question on Raisina dialogue. If I talk about this Raisina dialogue, guys, this is a common thing, which is generally what we can say is, these are the questions which we were expecting in phase 1. No, we were, dur tak we were not expecting these kind of questions will come in phase 2. But what they have done, this is thing how they have, we can say how they have made questions like very unexpected questions have been asked. Okay, so now here the most important thing here is, first of all, the students have to analyze what has been asked in the question, which dialogue or which summit has been tasked in the question. Now if I talk about here, the most important thing keyword in the paragraph is the theme that has been given. So the theme of the Raisina dialogue was given. That's why the students were able to understand that this was the paragraph which is basically being asked about the Raisina dialogue. So here the first question that has been asked here is, which of the following dialogues has been mentioned here? Sorry, the X refers to which of the following. The answer here is, that is, it is talking about the Raisina dialogue. Okay. So Raisina dialogue again being seen in the month of April. That's why they have asked the question here. Now, the next question that has been asked here is that, which among the following, that the side events of the Raisina dialogue has taken place at which of the following places? The options were given, that is Los Angeles, Berlin, Washington DC, and here the answer is, guys, that is option number B, both 2 and 3. It was not in Los Angeles. Washington and Berlin mein hona tha. Los Angeles is not the right option here. Okay. So guys, you can also give the answer on that thing. Okay, you can also give me the answer in the chat box also. Okay, do solve this question again. If you haven't solved, do solve this question now also. Now if I talk about the next question was, which of the following statements are true about the dialogue, the Raisina dialogue, or the X that has been mentioned here. First is, see, now there was a question on chief guest. Now why chief guest is that much important? Because the chief guest was related to very prominent organization, that is the European Union. So President of European Commission, that is Ursula von der Leyen, was the chief guest here. So that might be the reason they have asked the statement here. The second statement is, one of the 6 thematic pillars is the rethinking democracy, trade, tech and ideology, which means if you have gone through very detailed of the Raisina dialogue, then only you can attempt this question. Otherwise this question is also on a tough line. It's not that easy question to answer here. Okay, देखने में लग रहा है बहुत easy है, but it's not an easy question. It's a really tough question. Now we talk about the event here. It says the event is exclusively attended by quad groups. So here, if you have basic understanding, Raisina dialogue quad group was not being talked about here. So this is the one thing here. If you can understand that thing, then you can, I think you can attempt this question here also. So here the options are both 1 and 2. Now look at the options here. Only one and 2. Only one, all 1, 2 and 3, and both 1, 2 and 3. So here, if I go to the question, if I know the third statement is wrong, with the elimination method, I can eliminate these 3 options. Only 3, all 1, 2 and 3, both 1 and 3. Now here, guys, one thing that needs to be analyzed here is, if I know the first statement, then only I can attempt this question. Otherwise also it could be really tough for me also, because I know first statement is right. So now only if I know the second statement, I can answer this question. So this is how elimination method you can also use in your examination. Okay ji, chalo. Coming to the next paragraph that has been asked here, that was on the India-Australia Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement. Now guys, this is something that I can say is again little bit expected, but we cannot say it is the unexpected question. Why I asked you this thing? This was the first time in a decade that India has signed a major economic trade agreement. That is the reason the question has been asked on the India-Australia Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement. We were expecting questions on the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Act of the India UAE. Okay? But then I can say, because they have asked the question, the reason they might have asked this question is because in the month of April, India has basically signed the India-Australia Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement, which was again an agreement that has been signed by India for the first time in a decade. Within a decade, such a huge thing has been undertaken by India. Okay? So here what they have asked is, again a question has been asked is, it is talking about which among the following agreement. So here now look at the options. Okay, India UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Act is also being given here. So first of thing is how you can look at the thing, because now see, Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement has been mentioned here, and we know the Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement was basically being signed between India and Australia. So this is the thing from where you can observe, or you can see that this is a paragraph that is basically been talking about the India-Australia Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement. Now guys, the next thing if I talk about here, so see, even in our PIB sessions, if you have watched our YouTube sessions, then also you can have an idea of this agreement. So we have discussed this thing, Kaushik sir has discussed this thing in his PIB lecture also, okay, in the month of April. Just give me a second, guys. The next question is, guys, after signing the agreement, ठीक है, how many free trade agreements? I think this is the most, जिसको बोलते हैं ना यार, बहुत ही stupid सा question पूछ रहे RBI ने. We were not expecting this kind of question that RBI will be asking. Nobody can give you an exact answer of this thing. But this was mentioned in PIB. PIB में एक link आया था on the free trade agreements. ठीक है, from here they have handpicked the question. ठीक है, so how many free trade agreements have been signed? If I say, so answer here is option number 13. Now if you look at this link here, I think guys we are not able to open the link. ठीक है जी, but see I have given the link, ठीक है, that you can see. This was the news that was being seen in the PIB from where they have asked this specific question. ठीक है जी. Now if I say, do you have to remember these kind of things? No guys, because this is something unexpected that has come out. ठीक है, एक बहुत ही, if I can say, फालतू सा क्वेश्चन पूछा RBI. We were not expecting these kind of questions from RBI. ठीक है, but still they have asked. So the answer here is option number B, that is certain. And I think majority of students might have left this question also in the examination. Then guys, if I talk about this question, the next question if I talk about here, so see, on 6th of April, this thing was seen in news. Okay, so on 6th of April, this thing was seen in news that India has signed 13 agreements. So guys, इतना ज़्यादा in depth में आप PIB नहीं पढ़ पाओगे. ठीक है, you cannot read each and every article of PIB. So this might be a thing that many of students might have left this question. Now coming to this question, guys. So which of the following statements are correct about the agreement? ठीक है, see, economic cooperation will be enhanced between the two countries. Then first trade agreement India has signed with a developed country with more than a decade. Both the countries are part of supply chain resilient initiative. Now if you look at this question, the only statement which requires a very in-depth thing here is supply chain resilient initiative. Because guys, if it is talking about economic cooperation trade agreement, तो फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट तो ठीक ही होगी क्योंकि कॉपरेशन तो बढ़ेगी. ठीक है, सेकंड स्टेटमेंट क्या है? फर्स्ट ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट. दिस इज द रीजन दिस थिंग हैज बीन आस्क्ड इन द क्वेश्चन. The third point here is supply chain resilient initiative. If you have known this thing, then you can attempt this question. So still it is a question of a moderate nature, but still it can be attempted. So here if I say all the statements that have been given here are right. So good evening Jyoti. I think now you can also solve this question, guys. I think I want your participation also to let us know that what are the type of questions that have been asked. I know these questions were difficult. Okay, if I talk about this question again was very difficult question. I can say, guys. Now what they have asked is, under the agreement mentioned that India will be offering the preferential access to 70% of the goods. Now these are provided under which of the following act? And I think if I say, guys, in the examination you should leave this question. This is not the question, because if you know the each and every detail of custom tariff act also, then also the feasibility is to leave this question. It is best to leave these kind of questions if you do not have any idea about this. So I can say this is the question which I can mark as the one of the toughest question. All the questions were in the moderate nature, but this is the toughest question, and here the best thing is to leave this question. But coming to this question, guys, if I talk about the answer here, the answer here is, it is talking only about number one, that is the custom tariff act. Now here the basic thing that could be applied is IGST. देखो IGST तो नहीं होगा ना, इंटीग्रेटेड गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स तो नहीं है, तो ये चीज आप स्किप कर सकते हो. कस्टम्स एंड एक्साइज एक्ट जो है वो आपका जीएसटी के अंडर मर्ज हो चुका है, तो दिस माइट बी रीजन. ठीक है, तो ये चीज को आप रिलेट कर सकते थे, बट स्टिल आई विल से दिस इज द मोस्ट टफेस्ट क्वेश्चन. Okay, so I have found this thing from the website of the custom tariff, where it has said on the imports on GST registration that basically custom tariff registration act के सब कुछ अंडर जो है वो सब कुछ प्रोवाइड किया जाता है. Now was coming to the next question on the human capital index, the paragraph was given. This I can say again was one of the most toughest question that has been asked in your examination. Why I can say the toughest question? Because guys, they have asked a report question, a paragraph based question on a report, but it is a biennial report that was released way back in 2020. And guys, we cannot expect कि आपको 2020 का सारा डाटा याद होगा यार. You cannot remember यार. This is the fact. So this is again one of the most toughest question that has been asked in the examination. So if I talk about here, the first question is, India has been ranked at which position? The position of India has been asked here, and it has, the score of India has increased by how much percentage? So here guys, the answer here is India has scored 116th rank. It was ranked. It has increased the score of 0.49. Now, guys, if I talk about this thing, this was way back covered in the EduTap course of 2020, but I will not be the right person to claim here that we have covered this thing, because this is not the feasibility on your part also. This was a report that was covered way back in 2020 and we could not expect from you. But one learning here is, guys, if there is a report that is a biennial report, quinennial report, or you can say the reports that have been released within a gap of 5 years, 4 years or 3 years, now RBI said this thing, this is the one learning from the examination. Now you have to recover those specific reports also. You should be keep updated of that report till the date new report is being released. This is the one learning from the examination here. Now, guys, the next question is, the report includes which of the following data, that is 174 countries covering, on which parameters basically the reports are, the countries are being ranked here. So options were survival, health and education. So if I talk about here, so here guys, if I talk about both 2 and 3 were the answer here. ठीक है, survival यहाँ पे option नहीं है, health and education is the sector here. चलो, coming to the next question, guys, as of February 2022, how many countries have joined World Bank's Human Capital Project? So this was an information that was given on the World Bank's website. That might be the reason they have asked a question on Human Capital Index. So coming here, guys, the answer here is that is 83 countries have joined the Human Capital Project. That was seen in the World Bank report. And I have shared a link here also. You can see this thing here. Now, guys, the next paragraph was basically on the PM Adarsh Yojana. Okay, so PM Adarsh Yojana, the paragraph was basically being given. Now, if I talk about this scheme, PM Adarsh Yojana, the first question that has been given is, which of the following state was not included in the initial pilot phase of the scheme? So, guys, there was an article on the PIB which was basically telling us about the details of the PM Adarsh Gram Yojana that has been released way back. Okay, ji? So, here the state, if I say, which has not been included in the initial phase, Andhra Pradesh was the state that was not included in the PM Adarsh Gram Yojana in the initial phase. That was the one thing here. So the detailed article was basically being seen in the month of September. In September, in the PIB, there was an article on the implementation of PM Adarsh Gram Yojana, and from here they have asked a specific question in our examination. Now, you can look at here also. If I talk about here, the key features that has been given in the PIB is, it was implemented on pilot basis in 2009-10, and the 5 states that were being here, that were, the name were given in the PIB. So the question has been taken from the PIB itself. The next question is, guys, as per the PM Adarsh Gram Yojana, to capture the gaps in critical economic monitorable indicators, as part of it, how many socio-economic monitorable indicators have been identified for the selection for the saturated and selected villages? If I talk about this question here, guys, so here the answer is that is there are 50 monitorable targets that are being monitored under the PM Adarsh Gram Yojana. So if you are a part of our course, guys, so this was an information that we have covered in your main schemes document that has been updated on quarterly basis. On the latest update जो आपको main schemes document में मिला था, वहाँ पे information हमने cover की हुई थी. So this was the thing that has been covered here also. Now, guys, the next question is, which of the following district have won the best district award for the implementation of PM Adarsh Gram Yojana? Now, if I talk about this information, guys, this is a recent information. In the month of April, PM Adarsh Gram Yojana के अंदर कुछ awards दिए गए थे, and that was the thing that has been asked here. Which district has won the award? So the answer here is that is Hamirpur in Himachal Pradesh. So look at the thing. On 3rd of April, PM Adarsh Gram Yojana was seen in the Times of India, and they have asked a question directly from that specific thing. So इसी चीज को उन्होंने लिंक कर लिया सितंबर के आर्टिकल से और PM Adarsh Gram Yojana. Now, guys, this was all about your paragraph based questions. Now let's come to the 1 mark question. So in 1 mark questions, the new thing that we have seen is, instead of asking directly questions on the key features of something or the eligibility of the scheme, what they have done is they have made a case studies here. So let's look at the first question here on the sovereign gold bond scheme. What they have done is they have given the case studies. Now see, they have asked a case study on a lady which says, lady from HUF who has invested 12 kilogram in sovereign gold bond series. Now remember here, the keyword again here is same. You have to remember eligibility criteria, HUF 12 kg, yes or no, ठीक है. Then minor, ठीक है. Can a person buy a sovereign gold bond in the name of a minor? And then is 50 gram of gold. Can 50 gram of gold be bought? Can you buy 50 gram of gold under the sovereign gold bond scheme? This is the thing that has been asked here. So now if I say here guys, second and third statement here is right. Now we know because HUF, the eligibility is not 15 kg, it is 20 kg. Sorry, 4 kg for HUF. Okay? So that is the thing, if you remember this thing. Because the questions were asked in the form of case study, this made the questions quite complicated here guys. This is the reason the question here becomes quite complicated. Now coming to the second question, if I talk about here, the question is, who among the following is eligible to receive the benefits under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana? Now here also the questions have been asked in the form of case study. ठीक है, देखो नाम डाल दिए. They have done is they have given the question in the form of name. ठीक है, the question is basically on the eligibility criteria and key features of the scheme. Anil, 46-year-old, having 5 hectares of cultivable land, can apply under the scheme. That is Harsh, a 35-year-old, applies for the scheme. ठीक है जी, with a minimum assured return of rupees 3,000. Sahil is 36-year-old and he himself is a benefit of NPS. He is a member of NPS. Now here guys, again the question is in a moderate line because see the question in the form of case study has been asked here. हमें पता है if a person is enrolled in NPS, he is not eligible for Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana. So here if I talk about here guys, the answer here is only number 2. So here in the first statement also देखो age group 46 years है, जबकि वहां पे eligibility क्या होती है 18 to 40 years. This is the thing why the first and third statement here becomes incorrect. Okay. So see eligibility age is 18 to 40 years of age and cultivable hectare land is 2 hectares. Now guys, coming to the next question, ठीक है जी. That is the question was asked on match the following question has been asked on the scheme. ठीक है जी. Ram, again in the form of case study. So Ram wants to increase the birth of his milk cattle. She is the member of lady has been talked about who is a member of SC community and wants to set up a greenfield project. Then a married woman who has shifted to city with her husband and they both need shelter here. So these were the 3 statements that were being asked and along with them they have asked the match the following with that specific scheme. तो ग्रीनफील्ड प्रोजेक्ट की बात है, स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम, मिल्क कैटर राष्ट्रीय गोकुल स्कीम, अ मैरिड वुमन रिसेंटली शिफ्टेड. नाउ सी अंडर द वन स्टॉप सेंटर स्कीम द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट वी नो हियर इज कि जनरली क्या होता है, वुमेन कैन गेट अ शेल्टर इफ ही हैज अ सफरर फ्रॉम डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस, बट हियर नथिंग हैज बीन टॉक्ड अबाउट डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस, सो दैट माइट बी द रीजन the option number D, the matching here is incorrect. But still guys, I can say this is a question that we again can say it is tough in nature because in an examination इतना logic लगाना इतना time नहीं होता है. Understand this feeling, ठीक है जी. And then also case study based question, these are difficult to attempt here. So here as I've discussed, A and B were matched correctly. चलो so here guys you can see when you were getting the PDF, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे आपको पूरा पेपर जो है वो you can look at the things from the here features of the scheme you can get look at from here. Next question was about the Bhumi Rashi portal. Bhumi Rashi portal was again seen in news in the month of March, ठीक है जी. So Bhumi Rashi portal, the statements are which of the following statements are correct about the Bhumi Rashi portal. So the statements were government has started transferring compensation directly to the beneficiary account. It is now integrated with the public finance management system platform and the portal has been made mandatory for all the project implementing agencies. These were the 3 statements that were being asked on the Bhumi Rashi portal. So here all these statements were correct. And if I talk as I've talked, so Bhumi Rashi portal was seen in PIB in the month of March. ठीक है जी. तो मार्च करंट अफेयर्स देखो, recent current affairs, recent 6 to 9 months are the most important thing that needs to be focused. So here RBI has said is the last 6 to 9 months play a very important role here. Now coming to the next question here guys, that is about the again a case study based question has been asked is. So here what they have done is they have given the key feature in the question itself. Rahul has recently completed his graduation. that is under the eligibility graduation will be done with a professional degree, he is interested in doing an internship and has been sent to the NCDC for the same, under which of the following schemes Rahul will be enrolled to gain experience of working in the field of to be a self-reliant person. Now here this tells us that a very in-depth knowledge of a scheme is required. Each and every key features needs to be needs to be thought out properly. Then these kind of questions you can attempt in the examination. So here guys, this was basically being discussed talking about the Sehakar Mitra scheme or internship program. Now coming to the next question. The next question is, which of the following is not the objective of the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana? So yes guys, as we have seen in the previous year paper of RBI, agriculture specific schemes has been asked even in this year's examination. So this means the schemes, be it related to the ESI syllabus as well as agriculture, are really important for our examination. So if I talk about the thing here, the statements that have been given here. Now see, if you look at the basic understanding, enhancement of production and productivity, doubling of farmers' income, strengthening the infrastructure and post-harvest losses. Now see this statement, free education to the children will be provided under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Then is social, physical and security to fishes and farmers. Now remember something, if you have just a basic idea of Matsya Sampada Yojana, we know this thing. In the Matsya Sampada Yojana, it is basically talking about fisheries production. Nothing has been talked about free education that will be provided here. So based on that, the option number D here is incorrect. ठीक है, तो ऑप्शन नंबर डी जो है वो आपकी इनकरेक्ट है. चलिए, next question is guys about the Vaya Vandana Yojana. So PM Vaya Vandana Yojana for the senior citizens. The system, the question has been asked, the tenure of the policy is 10 years. One can invest the maximum amount that can be invested is 70,000 under the Vaya Vandana Yojana. Pension will be available as per the frequency of monthly, quarterly or half yearly basis. So if I look at this question, the answer here is option number 3, that is 1 and 3. So maximum amount 70,000 नहीं है. Do let me know the chat box what is the maximum amount that could be invested. ठीक है, इन्वेस्टमेंट कितनी हो सकती है? देखो, पॉलिसी टर्म 10 years, इन्वेस्टमेंट लिमिट 15 lakh per senior citizens, ठीक है जी, and 7.5 lakh which was doubled from 2018. Minimum investment 1,56,000, that is 12,000 per annum, और मिनिमम पेंशन इज 1,000 पर मंथ. तो अगर 12,000 into 12 करो तो अराउंड 1,44,000 हो जाती है. तो वो वाली स्टेटमेंट 70,000 becomes wrong here. Now the next question on the PME Vidya scheme was asked. Again PME Vidya scheme was seen in news just 2 to 3 days back here before your examination also. So this might be a case that recent schemes that were being seen in news and which were earlier also seen in news, so they have collaborated that thing and then they have asked the question here. So PME Vidya scheme, the question has been asked is, it will enable the digital onlining, on-air access to education. It includes extensive use of radio, community and podcast and special content for children with special needs, especially for visually and hearing impaired learners, will basically be implemented here. Now if I look at here, all the statements about the PME Vidya scheme here is right. Now guys, coming to the next question. So here see, aim of the scheme, facilitating the access learning, and what they have done is the initiatives that have been taken under the PME Vidya scheme has basically been asked here in your examination. Chaliye. Now the next question was guys on the Stand Up India scheme. So now see, 2 questions have been asked on Stand Up India scheme. One we know that has been asked in the form of match the following. ठीक है, again Stand Up India scheme was seen in the month of April. तो Stand Up India scheme से 2 क्वेश्चन पूछे उन्होंने आपके. One is related to greenfield project. Then the statement here is the loan is provided between 10 lakh to 1 crore to SC or ST. It has to be repayable within 7 years. Moratorium period is 36 months. Then the rate of interest that is applicable on the loan would be on the form of MCLR of 4 plus minus %. ठीक है, तो देखो what statement here is right here. Now if I talk about here, only statement 1 becomes right because let's see the moratorium period that is under the scheme here. ठीक है जी, तो repayable is in 7 years, maximum moratorium period is 18 months, not 36 months. That's why the statement here becomes incorrect. MCLR 4% नहीं है, plus minus plus 3% है. So that's why the statement number 2nd and 3rd becomes incorrect here. Now was coming to the last question that was on the PM Cares for Children scheme, a recent scheme in the month of June. Okay, in the month of May and June, PM Cares for Children scheme was seen in news. So that is the reason they have asked a question here. The statements that were given is children who have lost both the parents or legal guardian or adoptive parent, surviving parent are eligible. So first question is on the eligibility of the scheme. Second statement was basically the portal has been launched to register these children under the scheme. Okay, so that processes and assistances could be provided to the children. Then the last statement was about the eligible children. Okay, they will get the benefit of ₹1 lakh. So now guys, if you look at this statement, we know आयुष्मान भारत स्कीम के अंदर 1 लाख नहीं 5 lakh का बेनिफिट मिलता है, which tells us that this statement here becomes incorrect, and that's why our answer will be both 1 and 2. So guys, this was all about your objective paper. Now one thing that needs to be understood here is that we have seen from the examination is, yes, the most of the questions were being asked from the current affairs that we have seen in the past 6 to 9 months. Yes, there were some unexpected questions, that is the question on a report has been asked, that is report that has been released way back, which is the most toughest question. So I can say this is the question, it all depends on your emotional intelligence कि आप कितना concentrate होके इस examination को कितना concentrate होके पेपर को दे रहे थे. But still we can say the paper is on a toughest line. It is not an easy icing on a cake paper where you can sit and you can solve the question easily. It is not that kind of paper. So now guys, I would like to welcome Prakash sir here. So here we will be basically discussing about the descriptive paper with you. Okay? So now guys, over to Prakash sir. So he will be now taking forward your queries about the descriptive paper here. Okay ji, so over to you sir.
So hello guys, welcome to EduTap again. So guys, basically in this session I am going to take the descriptive questions. As Gurkira sir has said that if you are preparing for next year examination, so it is very much necessary for you to understand, to go through the previous year questions, right? By analyzing the previous year questions, you will get to know what kind of questions have been asked from any particular topic and what should be the trend, what should be your strategy for preparing any particular topic, right? So this should be your strategy. So that is why you have to analyze the previous year questions. You have to go through the syllabus, you have to go through the previous year questions, so that you will get the idea of how to cover any particular topic. So guys, if we talk about descriptive questions in this year, that is RBI Grade B Phase 2 2022 examination. So basically there are few points which you should remember, which you should keep in your mind while preparing for next year examination. What are these points? So basically these are analysis. So if I discuss, so number first is that this year 4 questions were asked from the economics, and guys 2 questions were asked from social issues, right? So this is very first analysis which you should understand. But the thing is that this is not going to be locked, right? Rather this trend can be reversed, this trend can be changed, and next year more questions can be asked from social issues and less question can be economics. So this is not, I can say this is not a thumb rule, rather you should keep in mind that this is the trend of this year, right? Number second is, by analyzing this year paper, you can see that there is a gradual movement towards asking question by integrating different topics under same component. This is the second point. So when we will discuss the question, you will see that there is an integration of 2 topics, and after integrating 2 topics, they have framed a very beautiful question, right? So this is again a gradual movement from asking topics from any particular topic towards integration of different topics under the same component, right? And next, that is the third analysis, is integration of different component. Integration of different component means that there is an integration of topics from both economics as well as financial management, and after integrating topics from these 2 components, they have framed a beautiful question. So this is basically, these all are 3 key analyses of this year's descriptive questions. Now guys, let's discuss the descriptive questions asked in RBI Grade B Phase 2 2022 examination, right? So here you can see the question number first. So question number first is, although urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands, caste and gender discrimination is rampant. in this opinion, how will you justify the protective discriminatory policy? Guys, this question falls in the second analysis that we have just discussed, that they have integrated two topics under the economics component. Good evening, Amit. So basically in this question they have integrated two topics under the economics component. What are those topics? The topic is urbanization and migration, and second is social justice. So they have integrated these two topics and framed this beautiful question, right? So you have to make strategy according to this, how you need to cover any particular topic, right? So you cannot cover any topic separately. Rather, you have to have the integrated approach of covering both the economics and social issues as well as finance and management, right? So here you can see, guys, first of all, you need to understand the question. The very first requirement is to understand the question, mark the question, highlight the keywords mentioned in the question, and you have to understand the different micro questions asked in the main question only, right? Guys, content are subjective. You can use any content, whatever you want. As far as content is concerned, everything is right as far as you are able to justify the same. Right? So if we talk about this question, so guys, you have to break the question first. So the question is, although urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands. So first of all, the very first micro question is that you have to justify this, that yes, urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands. So you have to justify this statement by mentioning some data, by mentioning some reports, whatever it can be, right? Second micro question is, caste and gender discrimination is rampant. Irrespective of the fact that urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands, caste and gender discrimination is rampant. So guys, second micro question is that you have to justify this, that yes, despite urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands, caste and gender discrimination is rampant. So this is your second micro question. Guys, I'm telling you the art of breaking the question, art of attempting descriptive questions, right? This is an art. Content, irrespective of, sometimes it happens that you may have less content with respect to any particular question, but guys, remember this, if you have the skills to present your ideas, you can score good marks irrespective of having less content, right? Second question we have addressed. And third is, in this opinion, how will you justify the protective discriminatory policy, right? So guys, here you need to tell, first of all, you need to tell what are the protective discriminatory policies. Then after that, you have to justify the protective discriminatory policy. I hope you are getting how you can tackle this particular question, right? So you have to break this question into multiple micro questions and you have to address them separately. So guys, as I told you that this topic was asked by integrating questions, by integrating topics from urbanization and migration and social justice, right? So here you can see, first of all, you need to mention the fact, you need to justify the fact that yes, urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands, and after that, guys, you have to mention that irrespective of urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands, there are caste and gender discrimination. So you can mention the report, you can mention the data, you can mention the report facts, whatever it can be, right? So basically I am telling you how you can approach any particular answer. So you have to learn this art so that you can implement it better. Then next is, what are the reasons behind such phenomena? What phenomena? The phenomena that irrespective of the urbanization has been spreading to hinterlands, why gender and caste discrimination is still rampant. So why this phenomena exists? So that is why here you have to explain it, right? Like lack of intermingling, lack of behavioral change, low pattern of participation of women in various sectors, problems associated with feminization of agriculture in rural places, caste identities assume new forms. So you can elaborate on these lines, right? This is not the perfect answer, this is a model answer, guys. ये एक model answer है, and you can give your answer according to your discretion, according to your opinion. Then after that, guys, you have to tell what are the protective discriminatory policies that have been taken by the government, right? So you can mention the constitutional provisions related to women representations in Panchayati Raj institutions. You can also mention constitutional provisions for caste representations in PRIs, that is Panchayati Raj institutions. Guys, you can also mention some policy level, the schemes taken by the government, right, for promoting the interest of you can say vulnerable classes, right? So guys, through this way, you till now you have covered that what protective discriminatory policies have been taken by the government, right? And after that, you have to justify, and what is the good justification of this? The justification of this, whatever reasons you have mentioned, these reasons that you have mentioned here. For example, let me tell you, How you can justify? You can justify by mentioning first of all these data, that yes, irrespective of urbanization has been spreading to hinterlands. You can see, you can check these data, as well as these are the reasons which are the clear justification of the protective discriminatory policies. So I hope you are getting. Now let's move to the question number 2. And guys, do not forget to write the conclusion, right? So here you can conclude your entire discussion. Now let's move to the question number 2. So question number 2 is the straightforward question: what is meant by economic reforms? Explain all the types of reform in economic policies in India from the 1990s till now. Right? So quite a straightforward question. You do not need to apply your logic. If you know, you can answer it very well. So guys, this question is static and it is 15 marker question asked from the component economics. The level is quite easy. The topic is economic history of India. And whether it is covered in our course, yes, it is covered. So those who have access, those who have subscribed our course, they must have gone through this particular question, right? So first of all, guys, you need to define what is economic reforms, since it is specifically asked in the question. So you have to mention what do you mean by economic reforms. Then after that, what reform measures have been taken after the 1990 till now, right? So here you can bifurcate your answer: macroeconomic stabilization measures, structural reform measures, etc., etc. So under which you can easily cover liberalization, and further you can mention what kind of liberalization measures have been taken, so you can easily elaborate it. Then after that, privatization, you can also mention about globalization, right? So this is how you can easily answer this particular question, right, guys? And after that, last but not the least, you have to conclude your entire discussion. So guys, introduction, body and conclusion must be there in any answer. Whatever answer you are writing, make sure that you are writing introduction, body and conclusion. Now let's move to the question number 3. But before that, guys, here you can see that we have covered this particular question very explicitly. So here you can see that we have discussed economic reforms in India, we have discussed its background, we have also discussed about liberalization, privatization and globalization in detail, right? So those who have gone through our materials, they must have answered this particular question very well. Then guys, question number 3, it is a difficult question, I can say, and this falls under the analysis number 3, which we have discussed at the starting of our descriptive discussion, right? So here you can see that this question was framed by integrating FM and ESI. Read the question carefully, try to understand the question, mark the highlight, mark the keywords in this particular question, then try to answer this. So question number 3 is: financial resilience is essential to any financial institution, business. Discuss in light of a financial stability report by Reserve Bank of India, December 2021. Then challenges faced by the Indian economy and economic reforms taken in view of the outbreak of COVID-19 in India. Right, friends? So though this question can be broken into multiple micro questions, first of all, you need to understand that financial resilience is essential to any financial institution or business. So first of all, you need to tell what do you mean by financial resilience. Then you have to tell why it is essential to any financial institution, business, right? So you have broken this statement into 2 micro questions. Then after that, you have to justify this first line, that is financial resilience is essential to any financial institution. You have to justify this particular statement with the help of financial stability report, which was released by Reserve Bank of India in December 2021. And after that, you have to answer the second component, that is challenges faced by Indian economy and economic reforms taken in view of the outbreak of COVID-19, right? So here you can see this question was mostly current oriented, 15 marker question asked from economics and finance. Difficulty level, it was a difficult question. Then topic is RBI annual report, and whether we have covered in our EduTap course, yes, we have covered it. So guys, first of all, you need to tell about the financial resilience. What is the financial resilience? Then you have to tell why it is essential for the financial institutions or business. So here you can see we have covered this. Then after that, you have to justify that particular statement with the help of Financial Stability Report 2021, which was specifically asked in the question itself, right? So you have to justify this. You can use key highlights from the Financial Stability Report 2021. Then you can move to part B of this particular question. So here, first of all, you need to mention the current challenges during the outbreak of COVID-19, right? So you can mention the challenges, that is 2 years worth of GDP growth has been lost, both retail and wholesale inflation is trending up. Guys, these are just a points, right? You can use different points also. So it is not like that these are only points which you can use in your answer. You can use any point as far as you are able to justify your points. So guys, here you can see that you can, first of all, we need to mention some challenges which Indian economy has been facing during the COVID outbreak. Then after that, we have to mention some steps taken by the government, right? So to revive the business, government took various initiatives for financial support to MSMEs under the Atmanirbhar Bharat package as mentioned below. So you have to mention some steps taken by the government. So emergency credit line guarantee scheme, funds of funds, credit guarantee scheme for subordinate debt, global tenders, ICT based system, champions portal, you must have aware about this. And last but not the least, you have to conclude your entire discussion, right? So this is how you can approach this particular question. Though question seems very difficult, but when you break any question into some micro questions, the question becomes easier, right? So this should be your strategy, this should be your approach while answering any particular question. So don't have fear in your mind, do not get afraid while seeing any question that how I am not able to solve this particular question. Rather try to understand, try to read the question first, then break that question into multiple micro questions, and after that try to answer all the micro questions created by you, right guys? So here you can see that we have covered in our EduTap course also. So here important financial soundness indicator, though we have not directly covered, but yeah, in a segregated form we have covered this particular questions. So those who have gone through our material, they must have answered this very well. Now guys, let's move to question number 4. So question number 4 is rural entrepreneurship. How the hinterland's young enterprise can solve India's social challenges. Quite a straightforward question from social component, right? So here you can see the question is mostly current or static oriented. Guys, you have to integrate both static as well as your current knowledge while answering these questions. The question is 10 marker, asked from the social issues component. Difficulty level was quite moderate. Current affairs based, and whether we have covered in EduTap course, so we did not directly cover this, but yes, those who have covered social issues component, they could have easily answered this question. Now guys, question is about the rural entrepreneurship. So first of all, you need to tell about what is rural entrepreneurship, right? Because it is specifically asked. Then after that, what are the social challenges in rural economy? So India's social challenges are multifaceted. In the rural sector, this becomes end-to-end deeply in caste and caste related occupations. These challenges are as follows: social challenges facing India, infrastructure challenges, findings of World Economic Forum 2019 report. So guys, you have to mention a lot of examples, a lot of report while answering any particular question. Socio-economic inclusion of rural India, here you can give some data, some example like limited physical connectivity, lack of digital connectivity, nil or limited financial inclusion. So these all are social challenges in rural India, right? Now the question is, though there are many social challenges, they can be overcome by boosting rural entrepreneurship. This was the question, right? So first of all, you need to tell what are the social challenges. Then after that, you can tell about how these challenges can be overcome by boosting rural entrepreneurship. So here you can see balanced development, the call of the are rural entrepreneurship envisioned around rural industrialization, rural entrepreneurship, solution to social challenges, etc. And last but not the least, guys, you have to conclude the statement. So I hope you are getting how you can tackle any particular question, right? So basic thing is, first of all, you need to read the question. After that, you have to highlight the keywords mentioned in the question. Then after that, you have to break the main question into different micro questions. And guys, after that, you have to answer each micro question separately, right? So this is the key here. Now let's move to the question number 5. So question number 5 is, write a short note on the current monetary policy framework in India. Quite a straightforward question, right? So current question is quite static 10 marker question asked from the topic economics, right? Monetary and monetary policy. Then difficulty level, it was an easy question. Topic is monetary policy since reforms of 1991. And whether we have covered this in our EduTap course? Yes, we have covered it, right? So first of all, you can start your answer by mentioning some previous years, by mentioning earlier monetary policy framework. So you can also mention monetary policy framework from the period 1985 to 1998, then you can mention 1998 to 2016, and then you can mention the current monetary policy framework, right? And after that you have to elaborate on inflation targeting, because this is our current monetary policy framework, so you have to elaborate on inflation targeting. So you can mention that under section 45 ZA, the central government in consultation with the RBI determines the inflation target in terms of the consumer price index once in 5 years, and you have to elaborate it quite further, right? You can also tell the failure to maintain inflation target, when it will be considered that RBI has failed to maintain this particular target, to maintain the inflation target, and when it will be considered, and what are the consequences related to that, right? So this we have to elaborate in this particular question. So guys, after making this, you have to conclude this as we do in all our questions, right? So now let's talk about coverage in EduTap course. So yes, we have covered it in detail. So here you can see this is a snippet from our course material, that inflation targeting framework in India. So guys, here you can see that we have discussed in detail the inflation targeting framework in India, where we have discussed in detail about the inflation targeting. What are the factors? The central government notified the following factors that constitute failure to achieve the inflation target, right? So we have covered it in detailed manner. So those who have subscription of our course, those who have subscribed, and those who have gone through our materials, they must have answered this question very well. Now guys, last but not the least, question number 6, what is NBFC? How is it different from a bank? Mention 5 types of NBFCs registered with the RBI. So quite straightforward question, right? Though there are 3 micro questions, but they are easily identifiable, right? So first of all, you need to tell what is NBFC, non-banking finance companies. Then second is how is it different from a bank. Then mention 5 types of NBFCs registered with Reserve Bank of India. So guys, you can see that this question is quite static in nature. It is a 10 marker question asked from the topic economics. Difficulty level was moderate, and topic is functions of RBI from finance. So that is why guys, I am saying that you have to read the component in such a way so that you can integrate the topic from finance and management as well as economic and social issues, right? Because this is the trend that you can analyze here. And whether we have covered in EduTap course, yes, we have covered it in detail. So guys, first of all, you need to tell about the NBFC as asked in the question, what is NBFC? Then after that, difference between the NBFC and bank. So you can see here that here it is given in detail. Then after that, various types of NBFCs which are registered with the Reserve Bank of India. So it can be asset finance company, it can be investment company, it can be loan company, it can be infrastructure finance company, or it can be systematically important coal investment company, right? So as you have to mention only 5 companies, so these can be 5 companies. And guys, if you see, we have covered in detail in our EduTap course, right? So here you can see we have discussed around 10 types of NBFCs which are registered with the Reserve Bank of India, rather 12 type of NBFCs, right? So those who have subscribed our course, those who have read this content, they must have answered this question beautifully. So guys, this is all for the detailed analysis, the detailed solution of our ESI paper of RBI Grade B Phase 2 examination. So I hope you have learnt, you have analyzed the paper, whatever analysis we have given to you, you have marked it, and guys, you have to keep in mind this analysis, and you have to strategize, you have to re-strategize your preparation for the next year's examination, right? So guys, this is all for this session. If you have any doubt, if you have any feedback, you can comment us, you can mail us on hello@edutap.co.in. So guys, this is all for this session. We'll meet in another session. Till then, have a good day and happy learning, friends.